Welcome everyone to another episode of Starmade. Ooh, guys, we haven't been playing Starmade in such a long time, I do know, but there's been stuff to do in real life and that's just how it goes sometimes, right? But today is another Starmade day and it is actually a Mothership day. Today I intend to kind of start the exterior wall so you guys get a better idea on the final shapes of the Mothership. Right now this isn't much of a representative state, but we'll get to it eventually, so we keep working on that today. But before we do that, I have a few things to talk about. There has been another update, a few features that I just want to mention, but more importantly, Schema, the main developer, the coder of the game, actually agreed to answer your questions. So in today's comment section you can go ahead and just feel free to post any questions you're curious about being answered by the main developer. What I'm gonna do is just collect all of your questions, at least the ones that I find appropriate, and I'm gonna send them to Schema and he will answer them for me so that I can show you the results. So anything you're curious about, such as when he first started the game, when he had the idea, what direction a certain feature will go to, and so on and so forth. Just go ahead, and if there are enough questions, we will go through with it. Now with that out of the way, let's have a look at some of the new features, and for that we're just gonna go into the Mothership's hangar. Whoop, go right into here, and there is actually my salvage ship. Now one great thing about the new update is that you can actually hook up your salvage computer to your storage, which essentially means you no longer have to have enough inventory space because everything is gonna be going into the storage block anyways. Great feature, isn't it? Now for the other features, we're actually gonna go down here, just land in the hangar, and we're gonna get out of the ship. And there actually have been two new weapons introduced. One I believe you will get anyways, and another one that you only can get if you are an admin. So let's get ourselves the first one, because as you know, if you are already in an existing universe, you will not receive any new weapons. So the first command is give_sniper_weapon, and of course you have to type in your username. There we go. We got a sniper gun. Let's have a look at it. What does it do? Okay, can I target? Can I zoom in? Let's have a look at it in the inventory. Maybe there's some explanation. So is it essentially just a new gun? Anyways, that was not the actual gun I'm interested in. The next one, the next weapon, namely the rocket launcher. And there we go. Yeah, if I could type correctly, but there we go. This is the rocket launcher. What shall we test it on? I believe I do have some shields on these ships. Let's just do it on them. Oh, guys, isn't that awesome? I love the rocket launcher. My personal favorite gun as of now. But anyways, enough of the features, let's finally get to the episode. I need to gather a bunch of materials and we will be starting on the Mothership's exterior walls. Well guys, so step number one is completed. This took actually quite a while for the results, because the results are usually not that great, but what I did is basically cover the whole thing in a gray layer, which we now can actually prepare to look a little bit better. So what I intend to do is basically carve out a few areas and raise them to a different level. This will give us a lot of potential to add some distinct shapes to either put turrets on or other additions of the ship. So don't be afraid looking at this ugly block. What we're gonna do now within the time lapse is to give this the proper shapes that we actually want. Alright guys, what you basically see here is a few examples on the shapes that we are gonna attach all over the place. Obviously everything is now not wedged out, also everything is in gray, which is something that is definitely gonna change. I'm not even sure if you can properly see it, but anyways, I think I can get the basic gist going with this. You can see basically only this part of the exterior has their approximately final shapes, and on top of that we can install turrets, we can install additional modules, and so on and so forth. Now, since I have started this episode, I'm not sure how many blocks I have placed, but this ship currently contains 273,588 blocks, which is crazy insane. So I think I have placed enough blocks today, even though I haven't gotten as far as I would like to. The reason obviously I would like to get further is to get the basic idea across a little bit better, because looking at the ship right now I am not very pleased, but adding all the wedges to these things, adding colors, making these edges rounder, adding some more structures right here, and so on and so forth, this will actually look crazy. At least I hope it will. But I think I've done enough building for this episode, so what else could we do? We could start installing a bunch of modules for this ship. We have already started by placing a bunch of those cubes right here, which are providing some power. Now, as you can imagine, there's lots of space right here between the exterior and interior walls. So for instance, here we could add a bunch of antimatter cannons that will shoot out the front right here. Now obviously within this contraption we'll have several guns as well, maybe even a salvage cannon, but I'm not sure about the salvage stuff. But I think we'll add salvage cannons on the outside modules, which are going to be attached right here. So there's basically going to be a huge wing attached to this mothership, which can be detached, hopefully, in order to give access to the hangar and also to fly off in space individually and do the salvage thing. So that's maybe one thing we can tackle in the future, but right now we're just gonna start placing a bunch of modules within these rings, and we'll have to figure out something so that things don't look too ugly. But yeah, this mothership is a huge project, and sometimes I'm happy with the progress and sometimes I am not. Okay, well, so there's gonna be 2 modules installed today, because these are the only 2 that I have in abundance and that I could afford. I did have to sell a few things, but the shop got plenty in stock of the Hyperflux coil thrusters, so we can install a bunch of those, potentially go on a test drive with the mothership rather soon. But we're also going to install a antimatter cannon as our first cannon, and it's going to be hopefully a crazy cannon shooting out of this surface. So we'll have to make some kind of mini turrets covering each cannon, and hopefully that will look rather nice. We'll also have to decide on where we're actually going to place all the weapons computers, and I think they will be placed right here. So we're gonna eventually end up making this into some kind of a room that will be accessible. But nevertheless, let's place our weapons computer right here. I think that's alright. No, actually, we're gonna place it right here. The reason for that is because we are gonna place lots more computers, and why should the antimatter cannon be the one that is placed in the center. So anyways, let's start building our individual cannons. Now let's see, we want to start probably around here somewhere. So yeah, we're gonna start off with our first cannon right here. Now let's see, this is gonna be a huge cannon. Maybe we don't need that many. How large do we actually really want to make it? Maybe we want to make it about 20 in length. So if we place that right here, would be extending just a little bit. Okay, there we go. Let's try this again. We want to place it right here. I can barely see, but yeah, there we go. Now it's expanding a little bit. That is great. You can get rid of this and fill up the gap. Now the second cannon should be about 3 spaces away. Place that right here. Should be extending, and we'll have to make sure that it doesn't interrupt the flow. Yeah, or are these too close together? Because eventually I also want to kind of cover it up. Let's see if we can do that and still have a little gap in between those. Yeah, it appears as though this is just a little bit too close. We might want to go 2 more spaces out. So let's do that, 2 more, and here we are gonna attach our second cannon. And now when we cover it up, they do have a sufficient space in between. Yeah, I like that. So that we can still place wedges and it's not too cramped and stuff like that. Alright, great. So let me actually finish a bunch of those cannons all over this area and I'll be right back. Okay, I installed just a few of those cannons. It is 12 in total, which obviously is just a fraction of what we'll be getting. I'm just gonna fill up this surface with these antimatter cannons for sure. Right now they are obviously not very powerful, but they are still more than my power capacity actually can handle. So that's one thing we'll have to consider. We'll have to add a lot more power. But I think to finish off this episode, we're gonna work on the actual thruster drives, which are gonna be at the back right here. And it feels like I'm really slow, but it's just because the mothership is this huge. Nevertheless, this is gonna be the area where we start our thrusters. Now, thrusters in my mind, they always are a little bit roundish or at least oval or something like that. So what I think we're gonna do is take this edge right here as our position where the thrusters are gonna start, and we're gonna make an oval shape covering all of this, essentially making up our thruster drive. So where do we want to start? I'm not sure, but we are just gonna do it right here, I believe so. So yeah, this is gonna be the edge, and we obviously want to get out here a little bit, and we can move over. So let's get down here a little bit. I'm not aiming for a particular shape. It doesn't have to be perfectly oval or something like that. It just kind of have to cover up all of this. Now let's see. This is not gonna be that great. What we should do is maybe add another climb up right here, and we're gonna continue onwards. And right here we want to go down a little bit again. Maybe something like this. So can we remove this? Yeah, we can. Okay, there we go. I think this will actually suit what I'm going for. So let's move out here just a little bit more. Maybe switch to add mode again. And we're gonna go down here. Let's see, we definitely want to go a little bit further, and maybe around here we're gonna start backing off, eventually getting back to the point where we need to go. And right here I want to get up again until we reach the wall, something like this. Okay, yeah, I think that's what we're gonna do. There we go. So this is gonna be the basic shape of the main thruster drive, and maybe we're just gonna divide it up into several drives. So maybe there's gonna be a large one right here, and then maybe a thinner and higher one right here. I'm not yet sure. The only thing I know is that these cannot be the only drives, because we are gonna need a lot of thrust in order to move millions of blocks eventually. So what we should do now is get the basic shapes covered with our gray hull. Holy cow, I do not have any more gray blocks. I didn't even notice that we have used this many. I'm sure I started way above 100,000. But oh well, what are you gonna do? We're just gonna continue with black for the time being. Since we've started a new part of the ship, it's not too bad. I'm glad I did have enough gray hull for all of this. But nevertheless, it's rather concerning. This is the first time I've actually run out of either gray or black hull. Okay, there we go. Now I suggest that we just add on to this. How large do we want this to be? Probably 50 blocks is not even enough. Yeah, let's just do that. Jeez, this mothership is incredibly a lot of work, I have to admit, and I haven't even placed the wedges. Mainly because I do not have them yet. We'll have to produce them in our factories eventually. But the wedges are gonna be an awful pain in the freaking butt to add. But we're just gonna make the best out of it. We do have plenty of episodes ahead of us. That is the good news. So let's place that right here. Perfect, we did the whole row in one go. Great, so this is... Oh, it's not even finished, man. I was already celebrating. So yeah, I don't think it is actually long enough for my purposes. It might also look a little bit weird, but what we could do is expand it into the other direction. That might actually be an idea, and I think I'm gonna work on the other side of the ship just because the sun is over there and you guys might find that a little bit more pleasant to look at. So what if we expanded it into this direction, but maybe just 25 more blocks? Let's do that. Let's totally do that. And we go all around the drive once again. Okay, there we go. I think this is much better. It is still not long enough, so we might want to go even further into this direction. I might also end up taking a few things apart again or reshaping them for my purposes. But nevertheless, I think we are accomplishing better things right now. That's gonna be good. That's gonna be good. I hope you get a better gist of what it is actually gonna look like, because basically this is only the center of the ship. There's going to be one more module right here, making this look much less squarish. Now the question is, are these guys still dependent on not being connected to any other drives, or does that not matter by now? I might have missed that within an update or so, but nevertheless, let's just place as many hyperflux coil thrusters as we can, and you can let me know in the comments section if we should remove the one or other row in order to make this more efficient. But you can see, I'm not sure how many thrusters we had, but we had several hundreds of thrusters and they're already gone by the instant. So we're gonna need thousands and thousands of thrusters as well. So yeah, now this is one of the episodes I do not like to finish like this because I haven't really gotten to the point I wanted to get. But so many hours have passed and I have to get to editing and rendering this episode for your pleasure. So thank you very much for watching. I hope you still enjoyed it, and hopefully I'm gonna catch you in the next episode where hopefully you will be seeing a little bit better what the mothership is supposed to be, namely the destroyer of the universe! Maybe not, but still, thank you for watching. Bye bye.